Hello and welcome to Echo Sound Podcast Studio. I am your host, Dr. Antonio Schroeder. Today we have a special guest, which is a very good friend of mine. But before we get started, stay tuned. Hello, this is Dr. Antonio Schroeder. I am so excited today. Before we get started, I wanted to go over a brief bio of my guest, who is Sean Kanan, Emmy Award winner, Sean Kanan, director and actor. Here's a brief bio of him before we get started.
Sean Kanan, producer and writer, celebrated for his iconic roles, including Karate's bad boy Mike Barnes in Cobra Kai, seasons 5 and 6, originating from the Karate Kid 3, and the devilishly charming Deacon Sharp on CBS's The Bold and the Beautiful, the world's most watched daytime drama. In 2025, Kanan marks his 25th anniversary since first joining B&B, continuing to captivate audiences with his enduring and dynamic performances. He has also reprised his role as Deacon on its sister show, The Young and the Restless, and has a distinguished portfolio that includes a notable stint as A.J. Quartermain on ABC's General Hospital. Beyond television, Kanan's film career is equally impressive. His diverse credits include starring alongside Bruce Willis in Survive the Game and The Fortress in 2021. He has worked with numerous industry stars, solidifying his presence in both television and film. In 2021, Kanan won a Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Limited Series as the executive producer and creator of Studio City on Amazon Prime. He also received nominations for Outstanding Lead Actor and Outstanding Writing Team and won the Indie Series Award for Outstanding Lead Actor for his role as Sam Stevens. Following his success with Studio City, Kanan is now making waves as the co-showrunner for the highly anticipated streaming series Unsuited, set to launch in 2025. In this multifaceted role, he also serves as co-head writer, executive producer, and actor, collaborating with a talented team while filming across both the East and West Coasts. Kanan continues captivating audiences with his performance as Deacon Sharp on B&B, further proving his versatility and longevity in the entertainment industry.
Hello, I'm Dr. Antonio Schroeder. I am excited today for our special guest. I am the creator of this platform. I am the visionary of Echo Sound Podcast Studio. I am so excited. I am the sole proprietor of this podcast. My mission is to create an engaging platform where I explore diverse narratives and innovative ideas resonating to our audience. I believe in the power of storytelling and the importance of connecting through our experience. Today, I have a special guest who is a very great friend of mine by the name of Sean Kanan. Mr. Kanan, welcome.
It's so good to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
First of all, I am very, very excited and honored that to have you on my platform.
Thank you.
It's truly a pleasure. So how's your day been going so far?
So far, it's going great. Very hectic, very busy, but that's kind of how I like it. When I'm done with you, then I got my Mandarin lesson. So, but that's one of the things I like about you and that you and I share in common. I don't get to see you that often, but I keep up with everything you're doing on social media. And like me, you're always pushing yourself to do new things.
Yes.
And I've seen such tremendous growth in where you started with your business to everything that you're doing now. And I just think it's incredible. And I think that makes us, brothers, where we've got that same, it's almost like a wanderlust, not so much about going to different places, but about doing different things and experiencing different pursuits.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one thing I could say about you too as well. It's like you are a grinder. Like you are a man that is very innovative.
Yeah.
Like every time, like I think you outbeat me,
Yeah.
man. I gotta say, like as far as with you're just so creative, and you could just coming up with different concepts
Thank you.
to elevate yourself. And I get inspired by you all the time. I really do, more than what you know. Yeah, more than what you
Well,
know.
that's the biggest compliment anyone could give me. I mean, that's kind of my mission statement. I want to try and inspire people. And
Yeah,
when I started acting, I thought that it was going to be through my acting, and it is, but that's only one conduit to do it.
yeah,
I write and I produce, and I have my business ventures, and I coach and I
yeah,
speak, and I love interacting with people and then seeing that they can, that kind of inspires them and gives them kind of that spark to go off and change the world in their own way.
yes,
I've always felt, and I wish I came up with this. I wish I came up with this, but I didn't. That the secret to life is discovering that unique gift
mm-hmm,
that each and every one of us has inside of us. The
yes.
meaning of life is to take that gift and share it with the world to make it a
Mm,
better place.
that's good. That's good. I mean, and recognizing
Yeah, I
that.
know. I know it's good. I wish I came up with it, but
Hey, but look, listen. That's very powerful, man. I mean, it says a lot because we are gifted.
it
We do
is.
have gifts. We do have talents, and being able to utilize those
Everyone.
gifts. It's remarkable to watch. Honestly, like when I look at somebody else and how they formulate
Yeah.
their gifts, it's
Yeah.
really powerful. And so, but yeah, nevertheless, I wanted to talk to you in terms of some things. Obviously, I wanted to ask you the first big break in the industry and what shaped you and what shaped your pathway as an actor.
Well, I mean, Karate Kid 3 probably was my big break. I mean, I was discovered by John Avildsen, who was an Academy Award-winning director for Rocky,
Mm-hmm.
for the first two Karate Kid films, and he plucked me out of line um, at an open call, casting call. And it's funny. We all carry these images and memories of the seminal moments in our life in our head, and sometimes when we really are confronted with what actually happened, you see that there's a fairly big difference between kind of the story that we've told ourselves about the events and what really happened. So it was right before season 5 of Cobra Kai aired.
Mm-hmm.
Entertainment Tonight came to the set of The Bold and the Beautiful to interview me. And I said, this is so surreal because 35 plus years ago, Entertainment Tonight interviewed me when I was screen testing for The Karate Kid 3.
Right.
And they said, we've got this incredible vault of video. They said, we're going to find it. And so when they cut together the piece they were doing on me, they showed the exact second when John Avildsen picked me out of that line. I was 22 years old, and it was
Wow.
exactly like I remembered it. And if people want to see it, if I've written about it in my books and things like that. But if people want to see it, all you got to do is Google Sean Kanan Entertainment Tonight, and the interview comes up, and it really is. It's interesting if I do say so myself. My
Yeah.
voice is about 3 octaves higher. Um, and it's kind of fun to look back and go, wow, that's where it really all kind of began for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, man. Yeah. I mean, I think I seen that video too. And I think it was just
Yeah.
like divine intervention. It's just like, boom. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
like your career just took off. So that's really
Antonio,
amazing.
that's so true that you say that. I remember when I found out about this open call. Before the open call, I flew back to Pennsylvania, where I'm from, and I was sitting out at this. It's like a mini mart that me and my buddies used to hang out at. We're sitting on the curb,
Yeah.
and I'll never forget. I had my two best friends, and I was like, "Hey, there's this role, and there's an open call," and
Mm-hmm.
I said, "I'm gonna get it."
Yeah.
And they didn't laugh at me. They were like, "Yeah, man, go get it." And
Wow.
I felt like this divine, a God,
Mm-hmm.
what
Of course.
working for me.
Yes.
And I wasn't the first person they hired for that role.
Mm-hmm.
They hired another guy,
Yeah.
and they let him go after about 2 weeks and brought me back in. which that's kind of a miracle. And then, while I was filming Karate Kid 3, I had a life-threatening injury.
Wow.
Christmas Day, 1988. I passed out in Las Vegas, was taken to the emergency room, and was told that I was bleeding to death and that they didn't know if they could save my life. And
Jesus.
I had to have emergency surgery, and I thought that meant Monday, and they meant in 15 minutes.
Right.
And
right.
Wow. I made it through the surgery, which was miracle number 2.
Man.
Because I had been bleeding for days.
Jesus.
And I had this really bad pain in my left thigh, which I thought was from all the karate training.
Yeah.
So I was taking a lot of aspirin. Well, of course, aspirin's a blood thinner.
That's right.
So that's what led to my blood pressure dropping. I drove through the desert from LA to Vegas with a friend, and had that not happened in Vegas, and had it happened in one of those little, small towns in the desert between Nevada and California, without like a level 1 trauma hospital, I would have died. And then, once I made it through the surgery, and the director called me and said, well, you got about 2 weeks to get back to the set or you're fired.
Oh my
and
God.
I had them discharge me against medical advice. And I started working out with a guy from the LA Rams.
Yeah.
And I still had a 12-inch wound on my abdomen.
Wow.
And long story short, I made it back into the film and did all my own martial arts stunts. And I mean, that's a miracle. And I know that didn't happen just because of me.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely, obviously, it's always that battle, or when you're right in the cuff of moving into something great, is always that thing that happens, to opposition, if you will.
I always say, it's this: the steel is tempered in the fires of adversity.
That's good.
And I decided at a very young age, at 22, when this happened, I said, this event is not going to define who I'm going to become.
That's right.
It's gonna reveal who I really am.
Come on, man. That's right.
And it revealed a part of my character that I didn't even know existed.
Right.
Because when you're 22, you think you're invincible, right?
Of course.
And then when you're told that you might die, to this date, Antonio, it still is the most terrifying, scary thing that ever happened to me.
Wow.
I mean, because you're completely placing your life into the hands of doctors that you don't know, and praying that they're going to be able to save you.
Right.
And there's nothing you can do, at least at that point.
Right.
Right.
So. Wow. Well, God was in control, obviously. And
he or she always is.
That's right. And so we celebrate that, man. I'm grateful that worked out. Definitely, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and just like I said, look where you are right now. So we appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Back at you.
I want to ask you a question. How has your background in stand-up comedy influenced your role, like The Bold and the Beautiful?
Yeah, that's a great question. It influences everything I do. Very often as an actor, you'll rewrite parts of the role that you're playing.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell the whole story, but there's an amazing video of Matt Damon talking about the time Jack Nicholson said to him, he said, the reason that I've been such a successful actor is because I'm such a good writer. Right. And then Matt Damon goes on to tell one of the funniest stories that you've ever heard. And I encourage everybody to go on YouTube and watch. All you got to do is Google Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson story, and it's really funny. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you can write and draw on humor and draw on the ability to improv. Yeah. I'm a really big believer in what Charles Darwin said. He said, it's not the strongest of the species that survives. It's not the most intelligent of the species that survives. Yeah. It's the most adaptable. And so when I'm given lines, my job is to take, no matter how good they are, elevate them to be even better. And a lot of time that involves me tweaking stuff and suggesting stuff. And when you're up there on a stage with a microphone and just your words, as opposed to a script and somebody yelling cut, talk about steel getting tempered in the fires of adversity.
Right.
And it's been probably one of the biggest things that has helped me become a better and more successful actor.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's good. I your sense of humor. I don't think people know that you're funny. You
Well, you
know.
know, when I did Cobra Kai, and I was talking to the big three, the creators, and I was like, you know, guys, I would really love to see if Mike Barnes could have some humor, because at the core of Cobra Kai, it's a very funny show in some respects, and so they really allowed me to insert some humor
Yeah.
into different parts, and I think that's what made the character interesting. I mean, he's not a guy that really had a bunch of admirable qualities in Karate Kid 3. And then when we see him in Cobra Kai 35 years later, you know, he's a guy that's gone through a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And he's got a sense of humor about
Yeah.
some things. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, your pitch, and like I said, it was just real funny, man. It's like a dry wit. It's like so timing, man. And
Can you
it's
explain that to my wife? I keep telling her, I'm funny. Don't you get it? She's like, yeah,
look,
you're funny. Go take the trash out.
right.
Put the toilet seat down.
I saw Michelle laughing at you every now and then.
Nah, she does.
But no, we appreciate that. That was really funny. And again, you are you're just multi-talented, man. You know, multifaceted, and that's one of the things that's good. You know, that I admire about you is the fact that you're not just serious. You know, like, hey,
Right.
look, listen.
Yeah, you know, comedy is my favorite thing to do. I
Yeah.
mean, far and away. I mean, I like doing drama,
Yeah.
and I've done a lot of it. But
Yeah.
you know, what I've really tried to do on The Bold and the Beautiful is infuse my character with humor, because
Yeah.
you just don't see a lot of humor on soap operas.
No, you don't.
You know,
It's
they're
serious
very
sometimes.
they're very serious.
Yeah.
And I've had this conversation with the directors and producers, and they've been incredibly supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know, as humans, we use humor for so many things, but we use humor when there's something terrifying and terrible happens. We use it when something great happens. We use
Yes.
it to entertain people, to get what we want.
Right.
You know, human beings don't realize that we're all actors.
Come
You know,
on.
you're a father. The
Yeah.
best actors are children trying to get what they want, because they will have a goal, which is, as an actor, you know, you have a
Right.
goal in every scene. Like, your kid wants to stay up late to watch TV, and at first they're going to be like, well, Tommy down the street gets to, okay, that's not working.
Right.
Then they're like, oh, 5 more minutes.
Right.
Okay, can I have a glass of water? Then they start trying to, you know, I'll do twice as much homework tomorrow if I can stay up I mean, and they will just do whatever they can.
They would finesse it. They would do
Yes,
whatever it takes.
yes. And you know, I teach acting, and I talk to my students about, if you want to see really good acting, observe a child trying to get what they want.
That's good. That's very good. I never thought about that. Never thought about that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, you're right. You're right. That's actually pretty good. I want to move on though.
Sure.
From this one question I have also. You was on TEDx.
Yes.
And man, I'm gonna tell you, I was so proud to see
thank
you
you.
on there. I was like, this
Thank you.
guy is killing. You know, so I wanted to ask you, like, guide us through your experiences on that platform.
Yes.
Like, how did you feel telling your story? You know, because I know it had to
Well-
have been something great.
Well, so I'll kind of start at the beginning. So last year, you know, I write down goals that I want to achieve, and doing a TED was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And as the year was progressing, I just wasn't getting any traction on it. And I'm also, with my goals, I'm opportunistic in the sense that I go where the energy flows.
Yeah.
And so if there's a difference between working hard to achieve something and recognizing that the universe is saying, this is not the time, put your energy somewhere else, right? So Michelle and I, wasn't Michelle and I, it was me. I because it was a different book. I won an award for Way of the Cobra. I went to this event in Arizona to get the award, and I met a guy who had done multiple TED Talks, and he introduced me, gave me a phone number of a woman who was a TED Talk coach. Called her up. She's in Toronto. I said, I don't suppose you're going to be in LA anytime soon. She goes, well, as luck would have it, I'm going to be there next week.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. I said, can I make you a video of an idea I have for my TED Talk?
Mm-hmm.
I sent it to her. We had lunch. And she said, I'm allowed to choose one person a year for the TED Talk, and you just got it. And I was like, wow.
Wow.
And I was like, bucket list. So I flew down to, well, before I flew down to Dallas to do it, she became my coach because everyone gets assigned a coach.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm a guy, I've done 2,000 episodes of network TV.
Yes.
I get up on stage all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so I figured, okay, I got my speech. I know what I'm doing.
40 pages. That's nothing.
Yeah. But the reality was that I had to go through probably 15 drafts crafting my talk with my coach before it was what people saw.
Right.
And I'll tell you an interesting story. So I'm down in Dallas. There's probably 15 or 20 other people doing their TED Talks. And there were a lot of problems. There were a lot of technical problems. And I was giving my speech. There were loud noises, people talking, things didn't work. And I still, and consequently, I forgot a chunk of my speech, but I was able to edit it in my head and put it together. And I would say I gave a solid B performance.
Okay.
And so I got off the stage and I wasn't really happy. And I went back to my hotel and I said to my wife, I said, that was not the speech I came down here to give.
Wow.
And she's like, well, what are you going to do about it? And I got on the phone and I said, I'm coming back down to the theater. And they said, well, we don't do that. And I said, well, today you do. And so I came back down to the theater and I got another crack at it.
Yeah.
And that was the speech I came down there to give.
Yeah.
And it was important to me. You know, Antonio, I always tell myself before I go and give a speech, I say, you know, I kind of have a little talk with the man above, and I say,
yes,
please help me to remain humble and remember that this is not about me showing off at what a good speaker I am. It's about me being authentic and connecting my message to people so that I can help and inspire them. And when I get out of the result of doing a good job and I stay in the process of being the messenger, I generally do a really good job.
Yes.
And in my speech, I talk about, if you want, it's one of the great ironies of life. If you want results, ignore them. And by that, I mean, focus on creating a bulletproof process. Put all your energy into the process, apply it effectively and consistently, do a diagnostic, you know, every day, what's working, what's not working. And over the overarching span of time, you will achieve results. They may not look exactly like you have them in your head. They may not happen exactly when you want them to, but you will achieve results.
Yes.
And that's something I've really focused on as I've gotten older.
That's deep. You know, and that's another thing too. I think we overthink, you know?
Yes.
I think we overthink. I think we kind of over analyze things and we're not being as loose and authentic with our approach. You know,
it's paralysis of analysis, you know, and you know, it's when it's time to take action, you know, and that's the second pillar of Way of the Cobra, which is Cobra is character, optimization, balance, respect, and abundance. And optimization means making the best decision with the information that you have when it's necessary to make it. And you don't always make the right decision, but you take action.
Right.
You know?
Yes. Yes. We have to take action. I think that's important. And get out your shell, man. You know, that's one thing about it. You know, we got to get out that box.
Yes. You got to, and you know, especially like as an actor, you know, you got to keep pushing yourself to do things that are new. Otherwise you become derivative, you become predictable.
Yeah.
And, you know, that gets harder. And it's not just acting, it's everything, because as we get good at something, we acquire a bag of tricks. And we like to go back to that bag of tricks. And sometimes it's okay and good to go back to the bag of tricks, but you always, or think of it like a toolbox, but you always have to be searching for new tools to integrate into your toolbox.
That's good.
So that
That's good. That's good stuff, man. As far as now, I'm going to ask you something too. In far as you got this brand, man. this hot sauce brand, and I
Yes.
want to tell some folk about it. I got some visuals on this thing too, and you guys got to pop. Y'all got to jump on this thing too. I mean, and I know personally, me and my family. But tell us a little bit about your hot sauce brand that you
Bad
have.
boy hot sauce right there, baby. I'm a foodie. I love food. My first book was called The Modern Gentleman: Cooking and Entertaining with Sean Kanan.
Yeah.
Um, I love to cook. Love hot sauce. Not like Hillary Clinton. I don't keep some in my purse, but I do love it. And I was like, you know what? I think that this would be a really cool product to put my feet into the food industry.
Yeah.
Mike Barnes, Bad Boy of Karate. I was like, Bad Boy hot sauce. That's got a cool, edgy sort of name for a hot sauce.
Yeah.
We got one called Cobra Venom,
Yes.
which has the Carolina Reaper pepper, which
Right.
is real hot. But you know what? It's not one of those deals where it's like, oh, this is the hottest sauce on the planet and it doesn't taste good. This tastes really
Listen.
delicious. Yeah. And then I got two others. I got Red Pepper Punch, which is not real hot. Uses red pepper, jalapeno. It's about a 4 out of 10. You can put it on everything, eggs, pizza. I put it in tuna fish and make a tuna melt. And then I got Mango Madness, which has the Indian mango, which has a very low glycemic index. So even though it's sweet, it's only 1 gram of sugar. And it's got the habanero pepper, which is about an 8 out of 10. And that's for fish and chicken. And if you're interested, go check out badboyeats.com. And even if you don't buy any, there's some really funny videos I made. So put those on. Go watch those.
Yeah, I mean, you can feel the sense of humor even with your
Yeah.
advertisement, man.
Yeah.
It's really, and I'm gonna tell you guys, this is the real deal. I ordered it myself personally. And of course, Sean, I think he gave me a T-shirt, and I was rocking that T-shirt, man.
Yeah, man.
I do appreciate that too, man. Let me
I
tell you,
love it.
the hot sauce is really amazing. No,
Thank you.
look, as somebody, the nuanced individual said, no cap. Literally.
Right.
This is the good stuff, man.
My inspiration for it is really the actor Paul Newman. He has he's passed away, but his brand is called Newman's Own, and 100% of Paul Newman's. Can you hear that? We're dog sitting here. It sounds like there's a cockfight going on out there. I got a little tiny black pug, and she thinks she's a lion. And there's a big dog out there, and she just scraps. So I'm sorry if it's loud. But anyway, Paul Newman, he gives 100% of his revenue to charity, and I would really like to build this brand into something where it's going to be the springboard for me being able to use a lot of the funds to help people,
Right.
for philanthropy. And so I'm trying to build this, and we're going to be branching out hopefully into other food products. It's a difficult business. This has been a learning experience.
Yeah.
Sometimes an expensive one,
Right.
but it's been fascinating. And I'm going to keep going because it's amazing. I've got people that have come back and bought this stuff 3-4 times on the website because they just love it.
Right.
And so I'm just going to keep going with it.
Hey, man, keep doing your thing, especially with that.
Thank you.
It's definitely something to, for people to look into because
Thank you.
It's really the bomb. You
Thank
guys,
you.
I would not put that out there.
Yeah.
Check out the hot sauce. No.
You just want me to bring you some next time I see you.
Hey, you
Which
can
I
bring
will.
your box.
Which I will.
But look, listen, I want to move along real quick with this.
Okay.
With this, first of all, before I even talk about the book, I'm gonna say real quick. I'm gonna ask a question. Can you share with us the creative process when like taking on these new roles? Like you have any new roles coming up?
I do. Michelle and I were just hired to write an action film, which I'm going to be in.
Okay.
So that's really exciting. And I'm also producing a new streaming series where I have a terrific character. The other thing about it is that I always tell new actors, I say, before you get ready to slip on the skin of another character, know who you are in your skin.
Come on.
Because, and develop your self-awareness.
Yes.
And because, when you get a new role, you always want to look at your own emotional index. You want to look at your own personal history experientially before trying to maybe create something that isn't there. So, I always tell actors, study a foreign language, study a martial art, travel, see plays, go to museums, read. And in doing that, you grow as a human being because you never know who you're going to be called on to play. I'm not a method actor. I do my homework, I prepare, I work hard, and then I throw it away and play and see what happens organically. Because, it's a little bit like a boxer. A boxer is going to have a plan, but it's like Mike Tyson says, everyone's got a plan till they get punched in the mouth. And acting is the same way. You got to remember, there's another person with a whole set of ideas of what they're going to be doing that you don't know.
That's good.
And if you're just going off your plan, then you're not acting moment to moment.
That's right.
And it doesn't really become dynamic acting.
Yes. I definitely feel exactly what you're saying. I mean, just for you to do that breakdown was phenomenal,
and if you're in sales, it's the same thing. You might have an idea of how you're going to pitch your product, and you might know how you're going to deal with a couple of objections, because there always are some. But if you don't connect authentically with the person that you're trying to sell to, you're probably not going to sell. And in order to connect authentically, you have to be adaptable to what they're bringing to you, not just you talking at them.
Yes, very good. That's you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You got to do your homework. You got to do your homework. So
you got to do your homework and then trust it and let it go, and then just play. Just let it unfold.
Right. Like I said, I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes, Sean. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
I want to talk to you real quick about this book that you have now.
Right.
We know Michelle. How do you feel? Because this is a little weird question, because when it comes down to the things that I like to do, I kind of stay within the parameters of my ecosystem.
Right. I understand
and
that.
how I flow.
I understand that.
And I let I allow my wife, because we work on certain projects together.
Yes.
But it's something of light interest, and like-mindedness. So how is it where how does it feel working with your wife pertaining to this particular book project?
I went into this, first of all, for people that don't know, it's the third in the Way of the Cobra series. It's called Cobra Couples. And we took all the strategies from Way of the Cobra and the sequel, Welcome to the Kumite, and we said, how can we apply these to helping people create the best relationship possible, to turbocharge the relationship if it's in trouble, and if you're single, finally finding the right person. As far as working with Michelle, she's an extremely good writer. We have different strengths as writers.
Right.
We didn't write in the same room. We would pass stuff back and forth. We would discuss stuff. We would, and I went into this project knowing that, first of all, the process of writing together, a lot of times, quote unquote, art comes from friction rather than absorption, meaning, it's not always smooth sailing. There's, there can be, shall we say, spirited debates. And I was aware of that. I was also aware that if we were going to put ourselves in the position of offering advice about relationships, that it was going to put our relationship under a microscope, not just with our readers, but with each other. Are we really walking it like we talk it? And fortunately, we do.
Yes.
But I have to say, it was a really terrific process, and we both grew from it. And I'm very proud of the book. I would encourage anybody to check it out on Amazon. There was a study done, and they asked extremely high value, successful people, what is the single biggest factor that you attribute your success to? And so you might think it's generational wealth, somebody who inherited lots and lots of money, and that certainly would be a huge advantage. That's not it. You might think it's going to an Ivy League college.
Right.
That's not it. You might think it's waking up at 4 a.m. and just being a grinder. That's not it. It's their choice of partner.
Right. That's good.
And I say the right one will make you and the wrong one will break you. And
Preach. Preach,
and
bro.
I couldn't be the man that sits before you right now if it wasn't for my wife.
Wow.
And
Preach,
if you watch
Sean.
my if you watch my TED Talk, which I really hope you all will, it's just Google Sean Kanan TEDx. I talk about how there was a moment when, I was 40 pounds overweight. I was hanging onto a job by the skin of my teeth, and I was dealing with addiction. And my wife said to me, I put everything into this relationship. Please tell me I didn't back the wrong horse. And it just hit me like a lightning bolt. And that was really the catalyst when I decided.
Yeah.
I was like, there is no way that I'm going to take this woman who loves me, take her down. She never threatened to leave me.
Wow.
Nothing like that. She basically said, I'm not going to leave you ever, but it will be a slow death of our relationship, and it'll be really tragic. And I was like, no, that's not happening. And,
wow.
Within it was, I'd like to say it happened in a New York minute. It didn't. There was starts and stops, but ultimately I lost 55 pounds. I created an Emmy Award-winning series, and I wrote 5 critically acclaimed books. And I would trade all of that away if it meant that I didn't get the 2 best gifts, which were becoming meaningfully happy and being able to get in touch with my authentic self.
Wow.
And when you get in touch with your authentic self, you can have a storm raging around you. And sometimes we have storms every day, and sometimes they're sort of once in a decade storms that really affect everybody.
Yep.
And if you are living in authenticity and strength and balance, it doesn't mean that you don't have lousy days and that people don't piss you off and that bad things don't happen.
Right.
But you're able to maintain a sense of buoyancy like a really sturdy boat.
Yeah.
Even when the waves are crashing over the deck rather than sinking.
That's good. Sean, why are you going to go there, man? You're going deep. That's really, really good stuff. You said a lot, in reference to your experience, and a lot of people are going through that even now. Like a lot of people go through that,
Yeah. And here's the thing, a lot of people, maybe they might look at my life and say, oh, the guy's on TV, he's got money, he's got no problems. Let me tell you what, everybody's life is messy.
Come on.
Everybody's life is messy.
Yes.
And you never know what private war someone else is fighting.
That's right.
And that's why I think it's so important to be compassionate.
That's
right. But getting back to, people struggling, if you're struggling, first of all, understand you're not alone.
Yeah.
Everyone struggles. And I believe God, the universe, whatever you want to say, he tests the people that he has plans for.
Come on.
And when you're being tested,
yep,
that's the time that you really have to reveal your character, get in touch with your authentic self. And
that's right.
Look, I always say when you write a book, sure, you're out there, you're hawking your book, you want to sell it. I urge everybody to get the series of Way of the Cobra books. They will change your life if you apply what's in them. End of story.
It will. I can concur.
Thank you.
The books are amazing. When you get locked into, when you first start reading it, it's so much gems in this book, in all your books. But people, you guys, I will definitely attest. This guy, what he has written, it's life-changing information. And I know,
it's not a difficult read. It's like it's kind of like talking to me. I mean, it's it's set up that I'm the sensei, you're in my dojo. The chapters are divided into belts. It's not like rah rah, you can do it. It's not cheerleader bullshit. And it's also sometimes it's like a little bit like a drill sergeant or a sensei.
right?
Like get off your ass. It's time to take action. But other times, I reveal stuff about my life and my struggles because I realized if I was going to elevate myself to a sensei, which means teacher,
Right.
I did not want to talk down to my reader. I wanted to say, look, I've acquired some knowledge and wisdom because I've made every mistake in this book 12 times over.
Yep.
You know, I don't come from a place of I've got all the answers. And
Mm-hmm.
I even say in the introduction, I expect to learn as much from my readers as hopefully you learn from me.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish somebody gave me this book when I was about 14 or 15 years old. And that doesn't mean that it's a book for 14 or 15-year-olds.
Right.
But if I could have learned some of those lessons back then,
my goodness,
man.
Yeah. Look, save a whole lot of headache. I tell you that. Man, that's good stuff. Wow. Well, Sean, before we conclude, because it's pretty much concluded, but I just want to say to you, I thank you. I appreciate you so much. Appreciate your friendship.
Thank you.
Means a whole lot. Means a whole lot, man. Oftentimes, we're in this type of space. I'm in this industry space where I deal with a lot of celebrities, or people within that type, in the things that I do. But one thing about my wife, you just like your wife, your wife is going to be real, is going to touch that heart and kind of be sincere with their reflection or response when it comes down to certain
that's
things.
A nice way of saying, like, they tell you how it is. They don't sugarcoat it.
They ain't sugarcoat nothing.
Right.
So when my wife, and I ask her a question, she's gonna give me her honest opinion, even if it kind of hurt me a little bit. But
Wendy's a smart lady.
Yes, man. Look, we love you, man. But one thing I'll say, she said, Sean is very genuine. That's one of the things we say, and not to say that people are not genuine. I'm just saying, it just says a lot about you as a human being, as your character, in general. So
thank you.
We celebrate you. We appreciate you, man.
I appreciate that. Well, I look forward to the next time I see you for sure. And we don't get the chance to see each other often, but I don't believe that time and distance affect really true friendships. So
absolutely,
I'm here for you, man, and I can't wait. I will just say until we see each other again.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, you guys. Look him up. His websites. I believe. If you can just, what is your handles real quick?
It's wayofthecobra.com, or you can get any of the books on Amazon. And if you'd like to get the hot sauce, it's badboyeats.com. And please go watch the TEDx. I promise you it'll be 15 minutes that will really hopefully inspire you.
Absolutely. Well, Sean, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in.
All right, my friend.
And we out, you guys. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.